Hello guys, we're back with another episode of our LINBIT Developer News podcast with Yusuf and me today. And I guess we would start with the latest news, with the latest things that happened, and that was LINSTOR Days. And I guess, Yusuf, we can just jump right in. I'm just curious, what actually did you like the most, or how do you feel about it in general?
Thank you, Niels. So yes, it was a great event, amazing event that took 4 days actually. And it was full of joint webinars with our partners that are using LINSTOR. And it has some conversation webinars with our competitors. And the webinars where all the questions in your mind were asked and answered by our developers. But my favorite one was the webinar for LINSTOR Operator that our dear Kubernetes developer Moritz and our beloved engineer Devin did. So what was your highlights? What did you like the most of the LINSTOR days?
I would agree with you on that. Like, I also really liked this one because I felt it was very interesting just to get this peek under the hood of LINSTOR, or the LINSTOR Kubernetes operator. And just for me personal, I mean, I'm not a developer, and I'm so like to get a view on this, and really enjoyed that. And I thought Moritz did a really good job in structuring his demo into the different parts. We will send those out. I mean, he did, yeah. So we have to send those out. They are just good. So I think, I mean, we can agree on that. And I also liked, what else did I like? I like the one with Andre Quapil from Vedos.
Yes. I actually forgot that to mention. That was really great to see LINSTOR in that kind of environment. It was great, hundreds of nodes that is relying on LINSTOR in one cluster. That's amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, and I liked when that he, you know, it was not one of those webinars where you only get a focus on the good part, but he also mentioned the problems they had to overcome with LINSTOR, and just how to get to a solution with LINSTOR and DRBD, like that really worked for them really good. I mean, with 600 nodes. I thought that was genuine, and I thought that was good. And in the end, Philip and him had a great dialogue, like back and forth, like thinking what's next, what can they do. So
in Linux Foundation, guys, what they called fireside chat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were on fire. Yeah. I also like your webinar.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I was working with you on the comparison sheet in the months before, so I felt it was really valuable for the audience, like to really see our features compared to the competitors out there. And I think you did a terrific job in explaining like where we have maybe an edge on the competitors, and yeah, I thought that was really nice.
So my fans are freaking out. They want to watch it online. So
it's coming.
Putting all these webinars into YouTube or something?
Most of them going onto YouTube. I think some we have on the website only, but we will like they will be uploaded soon. So
that's great.
Yeah, I liked how you were in the Q&A afterwards. Of the like, you asked like, I was waiting for this question, and you were like, I think you really wanted some hard questions to be asked.
Yeah, actually, because you know what, the more question actually, the more question is hard, it actually teaches me a lot if I don't know the answer. So I may not be aware of that question. Since I'm the solution architect in this company, I need to know every aspect of this product. And sometimes one customer asked me a question and I realized why the hell I didn't ask this question by myself until this now, all right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why I'm always eager to learn, eager to have a new questions from the customers. So that was really a fun part for me. If you ask me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm really not afraid of any question because I don't know. If I don't know, I don't know, but I can learn it and then I get back. That's all.
Yeah, you did your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just thinking through this schedule now. What else was there? I mean, I would say the last one, developers Q&A. I mean, we never did something like that.
Yeah, actually, after that webinar, what I think is, I think we should do this internally also, because you know what, finding all those developers in one single platform and ask them freely, it's not happening always. You have to ask one by one. You have to get in touch with one by one, but when they are together, you're having much more information.
Yeah.
So I think we should do it both internally and externally.
Yeah. Just get the community involved, interact with them. Great minds think alike, and yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. Like, I saw Lars, our CTO. He wrote sometimes in the chat. I think he was anxious to get into the talk as well.
We love Lars in every aspect.
But yeah, Robert hijacked the meeting. I forgot to ask him personally. It was good that he came in. I mean, he's he's there from the first hour with the coding. I mean, so I think that was really great that he was there as well. Yeah, I mean, there was LINSTOR Days. It was the first time that we did it on that scale. I think I guess we're going to repeat that, and looking forward to it. I mean, it is a new age of digitalization, and we have to come up with other ideas than hosting events in real life. So
maybe some real life demos like Andrea did, because that took a lot of attention. So
yeah.
maybe we should follow that and show people how it's working in real life.
Yeah, for sure. And just again, like we will upload the videos and the slides, the webinar slides as well. So stay tuned for that. We will send it out per email to the registrants, but you can also, if you come to the website, you can see it there as well. So it's going to be good. And I guess we can switch to the real part usually of what these episodes are about, and go into the developer news. Sure.
Yes, and if that's okay, I will start with the LINSTOR.
Yeah.
Let's go into the details of LINSTOR, then DRBD and winDRBD, and then we will finish. So we have a couple of news related with Kubernetes and also LINSTOR itself. And the new 1.1.0 release of the LINSTOR operator was released on the 15th of October. And this update, this release includes some bug fixes, and also it's mostly focused on integrating the existing authorization tools in Kubernetes cluster. And also it includes all the containers are started with the minimum set of privileges required to run. And we also provided the integration of the pod security policies in Kubernetes. And another improvement we made in LINSTOR, now you can run the LINSTOR controller as a deployment with multiple replicas, and this will give you the high availability on the controller level as well. But this feature requires a very recent version of LINSTOR, so we highly recommend to upgrade 1.9.0 in advance to have this. And we continue the snapshot shipping improvements. And we announced that in the last month's podcast. I will think we will say podcast.
Yeah, let's call it podcast. It's easiest for us. We have one podcast, that's it.
We have one, this is two, and it's going. And if you still don't know what is it, how it's working, and such things, please watch the first webinar, the first podcast, sorry, the first podcast, and try that out in your LINSTOR cluster. And of course, you need to have the latest LINSTOR version to test it out. And please give us the feedback of it through mailing channels or Slack, which one do you prefer? Because we need that to make it perfect and make it better. And another topic we focused on is also, it was the same as the last month, which is the reporting. And we improved the LINSTOR usage reports, and also we have made our Prometheus exports are faster now. And because we perfected the queries that we run into it, and we are adding more and more export every day in the Prometheus. And by the way, I just realized not much people know this thing that I will mention. And if you have a LINSTOR cluster, and if you write the LINSTOR storage pool list command in the command line, obviously, you will have you will see the actual active usage amount for each node in your cluster, and this will give you a brief, let's say, summary for the usage in it.
Hotkey. Yeah. Like Yusuf mentioned, you can always follow up with our latest developments in the mailing list, or of course get in touch with us in the Slack channel. And I guess we continue, we go forward. Like, what is it for LINSTOR? Is there something upcoming?
Yes, actually there is one release is upcoming. I'm hoping in November, and I can't say the date because it changes from time to time. And we are preparing it right now, and it will include a lot of things, but the most important thing is 2 features are coming. One of them is the auto evict feature. This is the feature what we call Node KO, but we changed the name because Node KO is like a code name, was like a code name, and now it has the marketing name of it, auto evict. And it basically helps the nodes evicted if something happens on the network and so on. I also explained this feature on the previous podcast. Please watch it if you wonder. The other one is actually really cool feature. It doesn't have any name, and but what we are calling this configurable etcd prefixes. So normally in LINSTOR, you have an internal database. And if you want to use an etcd, it's okay, we're supporting it. But the thing is, if you're using the etcd database, which is etcd is helping the clustered database, so you will have some clustered LINSTOR controller database. It will help you to become more high available in, like me here. And
I have to get that shot too.
Yeah, I think you should.
I think it's great.
So it helps you to create some high available databases for your LINSTOR cluster. But normally LINSTOR was using the LINSTOR prefix always. So you can't use different clusters in one etcd database back then. Now the prefix, it can be changeable, and therefore you can add any prefix you want to your cluster. That means you can use more than one LINSTOR cluster in one etcd database. And this, I think this is helping for better maintaining. Yeah.
You're actually also preparing a blog post about something in that regard.
Yeah, actually, it will be online, I think, in upcoming weeks, maybe next week, maybe another, I don't know. But it's now, I'm just trying to polish it right now, but I want to mention briefly about that, because I think this is really important for some of the audience that we are right now listening to us. So I'm preparing I prepared a documentation for AWS EBS, which stands for Elastic Block Storage, and versus LINSTOR. So some of the customers actually ask this question: what is your advantage over this EBS, and why we should use LINSTOR? I personally really liked the idea and took a challenge on that. And I worked that, and I found out there is a lot of points that you can choose LINSTOR over EBS. And I will narrow it down 3 for now, but the expand version will be on the blog, so you can read it. And there is 3 things that you should consider if you want to move from EBS to LINSTOR. One of them is the high prices. The EBS is really expensive when it comes to high I/O needs. For example, let's put it that way: for 10,000 IOPS monthly usage on SSD, which is they call GP1 class, and you have to pay approximately $700 per month. It's just for 10,000 IOPS. Instead, you can use the local disks in some instances, which is way more cheaper than EBS, and you will have a really good amount of IOPS on that local disks. I can say, and this way it will be much more cheaper, obviously, because you're using local disk instead of EBS. And EBS is actually, I think a lot of people knows, but EBS is actually is replicating the data from one instance to another, actually, and it's providing you a high availability in persistent disk. But using LINSTOR plus DRBD is much more cheaper if you are looking for high IOPS and low costs. And another point when considering the EBS is actually the real high availability. So the big problem with the EBS is it is actually available on availability zones only. You cannot replicate one availability zone to another, as far as I know until now. Maybe they changed while we're talking, I don't know. And there is no way to replicate from one zone to another in AWS. And this is not limited with availability zone. Also, you cannot replicate through the regions. You cannot replicate between the cloud vendors. Let's put it that way. You want to replicate from AWS to Azure or AWS to Google Cloud. That might be the case. Even, you know, some customers even requested this. Is it possible to do it with DRBD? And I said, of course you can do it. So by switching from EBS to LINSTOR, you can actually have a real high availability, because you can create real replicated disk devices between the availability zones, between the nodes in the availability zones, or between the regions, or between the cloud vendors, that's not a problem for us. You can do it with any scenario you can think of it. We are covering it. And the one last thing I can say about this is the reading and writing performance problems. And the maximum IOPS that you can have in the EBS is actually 32,000 IOPS. You cannot surpass this limit. This is actually understandable because if you are performing, if you are serving these kind of shared environments, this is how it should be. You have to limit at some point. You cannot give people unlimited IOPS, unlimited. You have to maintain the scalability, all right? And that's understandable, but this is not okay for some workloads. Some workloads will need much more than that. And that's why you can choose the local disks with LINSTOR again to have 3.3 million IOPS read and 1.4 million IOPS write speed, because they are local disks reserved for you. You will have much more, like, I don't know, but it's like 1,000 times more, I guess. Yeah, 1,000 times more than the normal EBS if you are using LINSTOR and DRBD. Yeah.
I think we should do more than that with just publishing it as a blog post. Maybe we do an extra video on that, or yeah, I think it's, I mean,
and I really, actually, you know what, when they first asked me this question, our customers, I just think it, and I couldn't find a good way to fit LINSTOR in it. I said, why should I use LINSTOR instead of EBS? EBS is much more easy. It's not a big deal to have it. It's automatically attaching to the instances and so on. But the more I research on this matter, the more I found that actually you have to go into the LINSTOR and DRBD on that cases if you are looking for high IOPS. You have to do it. There's no other way.
Yeah, that's like some funny part of learning when someone else gets you thinking, right?
Same thing, yeah.
All right, shall we continue with DRBD?
Yeah, sure. So you know, DRBD is our core product. We are developing it since 20 years now, and the thing is, DRBD has some sidekicks. All right, one of them is the DRBD ADM, and DRBD ADM is a tool that we are managing DRBD from both CLI and from the backend. Also, let's say, for example, LINSTOR is using DRBD ADM for creating resources and so on. And it was written really long ago, and now we realize that it needs really good improvements. So it's not meeting today's problems. So we have to make it like much more updated.
Yeah,
so
adaptable.
Yeah, therefore we started to work on it, and the update includes will include lots of improvements, and mostly fixing the wrong behavior that it has that is written before. Right now it's working fine. There's no problem with that. But if you are managing, let's say, thousands of resources, it becomes like a slow chain in the system. So we have to fix this for sure. This is our product. And right now, some of our developers are working on that. And I really personally want to thank Robert from our development team for doing really such hard work. Another thing about DRBD is, you know what, we have DRBD's 8th version. It's still there. Some people are using it. It's on the Linux kernel, and it's embedded in the Linux kernel. We have the newest one, DRBD 9. It's the most recent version. It has a lot of improvements, new features, and so on in the DRBD 9. But we have another DRBD, which is DRBD 10. And DRBD 10 is actually in the alpha phase. It will go beta phase and then the release candidate and so on and so on. But we are also doing some improvements on the DRBD 10, and we are actually experimenting on some features on DRBD 10. And we have another one released lately, which is the Alpha 4. And it will hit the LINSTOR repository soon. And you can also grab it from the GitHub and compile it yourself if you like. It includes obviously bug fixes and improvements. And the thing about DRBD 10 is it always includes all the features from the DRBD 9. This is, I really want to say here.
Mm.
And another improvement for DRBD is the DRBD test suite that we are doing internally. This is not related, this is not directly related with the customers and the DRBD users, but actually it is. So we build a DRBD test suite, and in this test suite, we are testing the buildings of compiling of DRBD actually. And this is helping us to pinpointing the problems before it happens. And therefore, it's actually improving the user, what is it called? User experience on DRBD, right? And
who is working on that one?
Sorry?
Who is working on that one from our team?
I think Christopher and Rini, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I am not sure. I think Christopher is definitely working on that. Joel, I'm sorry. The Joel College and the Christopher is working on that. I remember. Not Rini. Christopher and Joel College. Yeah.
Just good for me to know, then I can ask them to come on the stage next month.
Yeah. So it's like an internal tool for us. It's not a thing that we are publishing or something, but it's definitely helping us a lot to find. Normally, we are just doing some testings on the DRBD side while we're going live, and then we just release it, all right, at some point.
Yeah.
But we realized that in some certain circumstances, like in some special cases, DRBD has a problem with compiling or performance or something else. So there is some problems that we cannot see in our labs. So we created such a test suite that is covering, let's say, 99% of the whole scenario. So actually, we are hardening the DRBD's source code by testing this heavily. And one last thing about the DRBD, actually, it is about winDRBD.
Yeah.
Soon enough, we will have the winDRBD 1.0. And
what's the latest release candidate? 7, 6, 6?
7 right now. It's 7, just released like I think a week ago. I don't know. I want to explain really short about what is winDRBD to our audience. So winDRBD is one of our most exciting projects, and it's bringing the DRBD into Windows world. I want to fix a misunderstanding here. It is not a DRBD running under Windows. It is bringing DRBD into Windows. So you should have some Linux machines that running a DRBD that is linked into Windows machines, not just as an additional disk, also for the system drive. And the possibilities actually are endless here, but the most virtual desktop providers are expecting this product. And I think there will be a 1.0 release really soon. It become a really good product over these years. And One more thing. I really want to thank Johannes Thoma for hard work on the winDRBD, because he was working on that really hard, and I want to thank you. Thank you.
And we will get the page on the website.
Yes.
Quite soon. at Johannes.
Yeah. So that's me. That's all the news that I can tell about LINSTOR, DRBD, and winDRBD for this month.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we will get one of the developers to talk with you next time, taking my place, and then they can also showcase their latest releases themselves. And I think this is going to give a good educational frame for this podcast as well. All right, it's concluded. Thanks, and see you next time.